A single word echoed through the glass hallway of one of the city's most powerful corporate headquarters, stopping every heartbeat inside a woman who believed she had buried her past forever. A tiny girl, no older than 6, ran toward her with tears in her eyes and wrapped her little arms around her legs before whispering the word that shattered years of carefully built emotional walls. Mommy. The CEO froze as confused employees watched in silence, and within seconds she realized that this child could not possibly know her. Yet something deep inside her heart insisted that this was not a mistake. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share this story with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our growing community. Vivian Cross had built one of the fastest-growing technology companies in the country through determination, discipline, and countless sacrifices. Newspapers celebrated her as a fearless business leader, but no headline ever mentioned the loneliness hidden behind her success. Years earlier, while she was still in college, a terrible car accident had taken the lives of her older sister and brother-in-law. Their newborn daughter had disappeared during the confusion that followed. Authorities believed the infant had been placed into emergency protective care before paperwork was lost during a natural disaster that damaged government records. Despite years of searching, no trace of the baby was ever found. The heartbreak convinced Vivian to bury herself in work, believing some wounds would never heal. On a bright spring afternoon, the company hosted a community career day for local families. Employees brought children to tour the offices, meet engineers, and learn about different careers. Laughter filled every hallway as children explored colorful displays and asked endless questions. Vivian enjoyed greeting visitors because, for a few hours, the building felt less like a corporation and more like a welcoming home. As she walked through the main lobby, a little girl with golden curls suddenly broke away from a volunteer group. Without hesitation, the child rushed toward Vivian with tears shining in her eyes. Before anyone could react, she hugged the surprised CEO tightly and softly called her mommy. The room fell completely silent. Security guards stepped forward, assuming the child was confused, but Vivian gently stopped them. She knelt beside the little girl, whose frightened eyes never left her face. The child seemed absolutely certain she belonged there. The girl's name was Hazel. She had been living with a kind foster father named Graham Bennett, a quiet elementary school teacher who had devoted his life to caring for children who had nowhere else to go. Embarrassed by the unexpected moment, Graham apologized repeatedly and explained that Hazel sometimes dreamed about a smiling woman she believed was her mother. He had no idea why she reacted so strongly to Vivian. Vivian smiled kindly, insisting there was nothing to apologize for, yet something about Hazel refused to leave her thoughts. The little girl's eyes looked strangely familiar. Even the small birthmark near her left shoulder reminded Vivian of stories her late sister used to tell while expecting her baby. Unable to ignore the feeling growing inside her heart, Vivian asked permission to spend more time with Hazel during the community event. They painted pictures together, planted flowers outside the building, and shared lunch with other families. Hazel naturally held Vivian's hand as if they had known each other forever. Every gentle smile from the little girl awakened emotions Vivian had spent years trying to forget. Later that afternoon, Graham quietly shared the few documents he possessed about Hazel's early childhood. Most of the information before her second birthday was incomplete. The only surviving hospital bracelet listed the date she had entered emergency care after a tragic highway accident involving unidentified adults. Vivian's hands began trembling. The date matched the accident that had taken her sister's life. Refusing to jump to conclusions, Vivian arranged for professional legal assistance to help review archived records. It took several weeks of determined investigation, but every forgotten document uncovered another missing piece of a heartbreaking puzzle. A volunteer nurse had saved the infant from the wreckage and delivered her to emergency services. During the confusion created by flooding that destroyed government offices, the child's identity had been accidentally separated from the original family records. She entered foster care under a temporary name that eventually became permanent. The truth was almost impossible to believe. Hazel was not Vivian's daughter. She was her niece. The little girl had unknowingly called the wrong person mommy, yet somehow her innocent heart had recognized the closest family she had left in the world. When Vivian learned the truth, she sat quietly in the company garden during her lunch break with tears streaming down her face. She realized she had spent 15 years believing she had completely lost her sister's child, while that child had spent the same years wondering why no one had ever come for her. Neither of them had abandoned the other. They had simply become victims of a heartbreaking mistake. Graham was overwhelmed by the discovery but relieved that Hazel finally had a biological family member who had never stopped loving her. He admitted that although he adored Hazel, he always prayed someone connected to her past would one day appear. The legal process moved carefully, always placing Hazel's emotional well-being first. Rather than rushing into dramatic changes, Vivian gradually became part of the little girl's daily life. She attended school events, helped with homework, packed picnic lunches, and discovered that the happiest moments had nothing to do with boardrooms or business awards. Hazel slowly learned that Vivian was actually her aunt, not her mother. The little girl smiled warmly after hearing the explanation and said that families are made by love, not just names. From that day forward she proudly introduced Vivian as the aunt who had found her after never giving up hope. The experience transformed Vivian's entire company. She created scholarship programs for children in foster care, expanded family leave benefits, and partnered with organizations that helped reconnect separated families. Employees admired not only her leadership but also her compassion, realizing that true success meant changing lives instead of simply increasing profits. Months later, during another community celebration held at the same headquarters, Hazel proudly stood beside Vivian as they welcomed dozens of foster families. The frightened little girl who had once wandered into the building searching for someone familiar now smiled with confidence, surrounded by people who genuinely loved her. Graham remained an important part of Hazel's life, becoming the grandfather figure she had always needed, while Vivian finally discovered that healing sometimes arrives in the most unexpected way. Before we reach the end of this story, leave a meaningful comment and tell us whether you believe love, hope, or forgiveness has the power to reunite families even after years apart. Your words may encourage someone facing their own difficult journey. Vivian often looked back on that unforgettable afternoon when one innocent word changed everything. She realized that if Hazel had never mistaken her for mommy, the truth might have remained hidden forever. What first seemed like an impossible misunderstanding became the miracle that reunited a broken family. The greatest blessings do not always arrive with certainty. Sometimes they come disguised as confusion, leading us exactly where our hearts were always meant to be. Vivian no longer measured her life by company profits or prestigious awards. Her greatest achievement became holding Hazel's hand as they walked confidently into a future filled with love, belonging, and hope that neither of them believed was possible. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey.